Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk to you guys about everyday carry gun with iron sights versus a red dot. Okay, and this came up today with somebody I was training, somebody that had been carrying gun for a long time, um, and they were swearing up and down to me that they shoot that they thought that they would shoot the iron sights better than the red dot. Okay, well, lo and behold, I had him shoot the red dot, and he was shooting the red dot better. Okay, now the first thing that came up is why was he shooting the red dot better? Well, um, when he goes to the gun range, what we discovered is that he shoots at a much bigger target at much closer distance. Okay, so the target that he normally shoots at is, I don't know, a man-sized target um, at somewhere 3 to 5 yards. Okay, um, that's what he normally practices at. Now, when I had him shoot a 6-inch plate at 10 yards. Okay, so that's not a distance that he was used to shooting at, right? Um, which is important because basically life is unexpected, right? You always don't want to train under the same exact circumstances. So, but here's the interesting thing, right? He was having a real hard time shooting the 6-inch plate at 10 yards, right? But when I put him on my gun, right, he was able to hit it pretty good, right? Once he got used to the red dot, he was able to hit it pretty good. So the question becomes, why was that? First of all, let me show you guys the gun I had. I had him shoot this Glock 26 that I have here, and it had the ACSS reticle, right? So basically, the ACSS, you got normally when you're fully extended, all you see is the chevron, and then if you're a little offline, the edge of the circle guide you back to the center, right? So use the edge of the circle to guide you to the center. You normally, basically, if you bring the gun in, you see the entire thing, but that's not normally what you see. What you see is that, okay? So, so he was able to hit that 6-inch plate at 10 yards, whereas with the iron sights, he was having a real hard time. So why would that be? Well, the first, I mean, I did a whole bunch of tests with him just to confirm what I thought, and because I had him shoot the paper target as well. I asked him a whole bunch of questions, and what this person was doing, which is something I have seen many times before, is when they were extending, right? They would basically, I mean, initially they would see the target, right? They would match up their sights, right? Right, match up the sights, right? He knew how to line up his sights. That was no issue, right? But then he would shift his focus back to the target, right? So if he was shooting the target over there, he would focus on the target, not on the front sight. So your eye is basically a camera. It can only focus on one thing at a time. So there's three things that you're looking at with iron sights: front sight, rear sight, and the target. Okay, so the thing that you're supposed to look at is the front sight, which means the rear sight's going to be blurry and the target is going to be blurry. And most people are very uncomfortable with this idea of the target being blurry, right? They want to see a nice, crisp, clear target. So that's the reason why this person was fine with shooting a large target at close distance, because yeah, he was lining up his sights and then he was shifting his focus to the target, but just from his presentation, right? He would line up his sights, do a full presentation, then his focus would shift to the target, but his hands hadn't really moved. So essentially, at that point, he was point shooting the gun. Okay, he was right. So versus really aiming the gun. With the red dot, it's a single point of aim. So you just look at the target, and the dot is on the target. So single point of aim, and that's the reason why he was able to, he was able to hit the target at 10 yards, 6-inch plate at 10 yards with the red dot, whereas he couldn't hit it with the iron sights, is because even though he had been shooting iron sights for so long, he really wasn't using them right? He wasn't focusing on the front sight. He was focusing on the target. he didn't know that because he never really pushed himself to shoot further distances. He had bought into this whole thing that, hey, a defensive encounter is going to only happen at a close distance. Okay, so here's the thing: defensive, self-defense encounters don't happen often enough where you can really get good statistics about how your self-defense encounter is going to turn out, right? Because there have also been cases where they've been over longer distances, right? Or you might end up defending your wife, who's in a different position than you, right? So you can't just rely on this idea that self-defense encounter is only going to happen at a closer distance. You'll have to be prepared for the possibility that it might happen at a longer distance. And in order to be able to deal with a threat at a longer distance, if you're going to be shooting iron sights, you have to focus on the front sight. Versus the red dot where you just look at the target and the dot is on it. Now, here's the problem, right? And I've had this discussion another time with somebody else who was swearing up and down that iron sights are the best thing for him, but for a different reason, right? He was saying that, hey, first of all, this person knew how to shoot the iron sights, right? He was focusing on the front sight, right? He was focusing on the front sight. He could hit the targets at distance. But with him, I brought up a different point that I want you guys to consider. Hey, when you're shooting iron sights, right? Even if you've shot whatever 1,000,000 rounds, right, and you focus on that front sight, you're shooting that under calm range conditions, right? You're not shooting that under stress, right? You're not shooting at a target that's trying to kill you, right? So, even though maybe he shot 1,000,000 rounds, I don't know, I'm making up a number there, but he said he shot a lot, I don't know. But even though he shot, let's say, lots and lots of rounds, and is really good at shifting his focus right from the target back to the front sight, he's never really shot it under real stress conditions. So if he was ever to be put into that situation, he has no way of knowing for sure if he will actually bring his focus back to the front sight, or if he will do the natural thing, right? The natural thing is to look at the thing that's scaring you. It's really hard to bring your focus back to the front sight if something out there is really terrifying you that much. Okay? So the red dot takes care of that problem. The red dot, you just look at the target, dots on it, you shoot it. Okay.